Hi, I'm Milla, and this is another Milla's Game Room video. This one is basically the obligatory cautionary optimism about 2023 releases that I really am excited for, but hope they turn out well, which is part of the course for like gaming communities at this time of year, and for good reason. So if you want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, etc., notification bell, all that stuff, get out of the way now. I've picked 10 like gaming things, titles, spin-offs, etc., and a few honorable mentions of games that I'm most excited for. There's going to be a few broad themes here, so let's get to it. First one is going to be Fire Emblem Engage. This is coming out in January. This title is, well, it was meant to be the 30th anniversary Fire Emblem release, but Nintendo were like, let's delay it till next year, they can wait. And, well, it's coming out. It's got some nice little graphics and visuals and references from like Gust developing it as well, and all references from the previous game. So it's not like Tokyo Mirage Sessions or Fire Emblem Warriors where they only reference Awakening and Fates and like one other game. So this looks like to be a good celebratory title. I'm not the biggest fan of the DLC pass that's been announced, but I'm hoping it's just like minor stuff that's not important. But you know, other than that, I'm really excited for this one and hoping it's a solid strategy RPG experience. And it probably will end up being the best selling in the series too, because you know, 100+ million sold Switches plus loads of RPG fans. Pretty foregone conclusion about how much it will sell. It will sell loads because it's Fire Emblem and it's a Switch. Second one is probably our most anticipated visual novel release, and that is Jack Jian. So this one is, well, the big localization from Broccoli and Sui Ishida, who like co-created Tokyo Ghoul, who's also done the art as well. It's really cool looking, and I'm mainly excited for this one because, well, it's by Broccoli, one of the biggest otome companies that in the past was kind of like, yeah, we're not interested in the West. But now it's like, yeah, we're actually going to release stuff now, probably because we're just not doing well in Japan anymore. And just, you know, the whole obligatory visual companies have to look abroad to sell their stuff now. And that's basically the trend they're following. And I'm looking forward to checking this game out. I'm hoping that Broccoli, this game it's been well received by importers, and I'm hoping I enjoy it as well. And that finally, you know, I get it to play for myself. And it's going to be coming out in June. And it's got a very extravagant limited edition, which, is quite rare for visuals in the West outside of Idea Factory whenever they do otome games, which is like, well, until recently hardly ever, but you know. Anyway, next one is another January release. This is the latest SpongeBob game. Yes, SpongeBob is going to be in this list because SpongeBob is amazing. This is a Cosmic Shake. It's basically the spiritual successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom after like literally 20 years. This game is developed by Purple Lamp, who also did the remake, and it's shaping up to be really good. Like, got the whole Wish World concept with you going to the worlds and based off these cartoon worlds and music from the show and these kind of references and that. It looks like a love letter, and I'm hoping it turns out good. Gonna be cautiously optimistic with this one because it is like THQ Nordic. It is one of the biggest like Western companies, so I'm kind of like, I'm hoping it's not like ruined by microtransactions and stuff, but you know, gonna keep an eye on that. But I am excited. I can't wait to relive that, the nostalgia for SpongeBob, and yeah, have that on the collection too. Fourth one is a DLC scenario. It's for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and for those who don't know, there's an expansion pass for Xenoblade 3. I don't care about any of the other stuff. As far as I'm concerned, all that shit in the first 3 waves should have been in the base game. And the last portion note is an actual DLC scenario. There's no information on it, and if I was to talk at length about what I think or hope it will be, it would actually potentially spoil Xenoblade Chronicles 3. But let's just say if you've played the game, you can probably think of a few possibilities over what this scenario will cover, and what it could explore, and where it could go. And those possibilities are one of the reasons I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping more information is revealed soon. And much like Torn of the Golden Country, it gets a physical release of its own, because if it doesn't get a physical, I'll probably just wait for a sale. Like, I'm a Xenoblade fan, but I'm not just gonna buy a full price digital game when it should be physical. Still sort of a Famicom Detective Club, by the way, Nintendo. Anyway, next title is a port from the Wii era. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is the Americanized name when it came out in Europe, is Kirby's Adventure Wii, and like in Japan was Hoshi no Kirby Wii, so that's a better name. Sorry, Americans. Well, I don't care, but they should have kept the European name. But you know, that aside, it's a Wii game I was always looking to get, and then now I don't need to because now it's coming to Switch. And from what I understand, this is basically the new Super Mario Brothers Wii of Kirby, if that makes sense, with the whole like very bland and vanilla aesthetic, but with 4-player and like local multiplayer and stuff like that. I'm hoping the port turns out well. It's not the first Kirby game to get a port like this. Kirby's Epic Yarn also got a similar like port treatment for the 3DS, if anyone remembers that port, because it was like the last third-party game released. Well, actually, first-party. The third-party was Persona Q, and that game was... I've not played it, but that's good, apparently. And Kirby's Epic Yarn was like, why does this port exist? So this Kirby's Adventure Deluxe port hopefully is going to be not only just serviceable, but also great, and the game will be fun, I hope. But yeah, that's going to be for the hype list. Next one, Process of Elimination. So this I'm excited for similar reasons to Jack Gian. Now, whereas Jack Gian was about broccoli, this one is about Nippon Ichi Software. Because for those that don't know, well, I actually made a whole video on it, but Nippon Ichi Software have been releasing visual novels for quite some time, but none of them have ever come to the West officially, if you don't include Iwahime on PC, which was done by, well, DMM Games themselves. But with this game, NICE America localised it, they're giving it an LE, they're giving it the treatment it deserves, and it looks pretty good. It's basically a murder mystery game, where you're on an island with like 14 other detectives, and one of them is like the Quartering Jack, which is a murderer. So you've got to catch the murderer, because any one of you, the elite detectives on this island, could be the murderer of over 100 people, and it sounds like a cool concept, and there's gameplay elements, so I'm hoping it turns out well, because I still want this little thing called Furaiki 4 in English, because that's also a fucking masterpiece as well. Like, have you seen that opening theme? It's fucking incredible. And the music's great as well. I'm probably going to have it in the background of this video, actually, because Furaiki is pretty fucking cool. Coming up next year will be, well, the Falcon localizations, and only one of them is actually my next one, because I haven't played all the previous Trails games. So Trails to Azure is coming in March, that's the first release. Trails into Reverie, which is basically the conclusion to Crossbelt and Cold Steel, is most likely coming next. I'm not sure if it's been announced or not, but it's most likely going to be coming next, because people love moaning and complaining to NICE America that they take too long to localize Trails games, when fun fact, there's plenty of other stuff you can play in the meantime. Like the third release, The Legend of Heroes Boundless Trails, which is the one I'm actually the most excited for. This one already has a fan patch. I've not played it, but it's been good things from people who played that patch ages ago. It is a port of a PSP game, but it looks great. Music is fucking amazing. I fucking love it so much. I might have that in the background of this video too, because Furaiki and Nayuta are fucking amazing soundtracks. This one's, well, action RPG, kind of similar to E7. So if you've played E7 and other Falcon era like games around that time, it's kind of like that, basically. And it just looks great, and oh, I just can't wait to have it on my TV or on handheld, and just have the music bumping as you go around this action RPG aesthetics themed around seasons and going to save the world and other stuff like that. It's just so cool. I think the next one is going to be one that's not really known about in terms of details yet, but this one is Rune Factory 3 Special. So following on from Rune Factory 4 Special and Rune Factory 5, another Rune Factory game is getting the port/remake treatment. This one's going to have similar features from the 4 Special, like newlyweds and improved optimization for the Switch. And it's nice to play another game like this when it comes out. And this one's like a classic from the DS. I know a lot of people really liked it back in the day. I never played it. I once had it on DS, but I had to get rid of it. So having it back now, and in a position where I can play it on the Switch, either the TV or at home, or wherever I want to play, is really cool. And I cannot wait to experience this game. Simple as that. It's meant to be 2023 at some point. Not dated specifically. Could step into 2024 because, well, that's what it's intended to do with these games. They tend to just announce them and then they take forever. And it can be a bit like tiring. And the other thing is it's probably going to have gay marriage in it, which is going to be a huge win. Number 9 is my other most anticipated Otome release. So yeah, Verche looks cool. Yeah, Radiant Tail looks cool, even though that will probably slip into 2024. Tengoku Struggle, which is 2024, so also not eligible for this list. And the Crimson Flower Divides, which also looks cool, which I'm not hyped enough to put it on this, but it's still great. Norn 9 Last Era. So yes, Norn 9 is coming back next March. The base game is being re-released on the Switch in English. I can't wait. I love Norn 9. It's fucking amazing. I love the world. I love the characters. And I love the music, which, fun fact, was composed by an Australian guy, which is really cool. But Last Era is a fan disc. It's like originally on the Vita, people wanted it, never came. But this fan disc is going to, well, have more after stories and stuff, including tying up some plot points from the original that were never properly explained. So not only is it going to be good for people who care about these amazing, sexy husbandos, but also about the plot and development of the world, which is really cool. So it's definitely a huge win in that respect. So, you know, stay tuned for this whenever it comes out. Most likely, I'm guessing probably either before or after Jack Jan, but that's just a guess. So, you know, either way, take your time, release it lovely, and have an Ellie please with the soundtrack because you can't buy it anymore from Japan. And number 10, which is not a game but a game-related product, which you might be able to guess if you've watched any of my other content, and it's the Mario movie. It's the crossover with Universal and Illumination, so you get to see all the Toads and all that, like the Mario world realised in animation form. It looks incredible. I am in love with it already. Like the characters, like it just looks really cool, and having this adaptation of seemingly an isekai of the Mushroom Kingdom. We have Mario go around to save his brother from Bowser with Peach and the Toads, especially all the cute Toads in the village in Mushroom Kingdom, and all these like badass imagery of like Bowser, and also the whole like all these references like the Firefly, Snooki Suit, and donut blocks, and just the cheap level from Super Mario Brothers. Just all these references that look so cool, and it looks like something I've always wanted. I can't wait. So yeah, I'm excited for a movie more than most of the games on this list, but you know, I don't care. I'm gonna go see it, and I'll probably review it on Milla's Game Room, so stay tuned. Now for honorable mentions, because I've got honorable mentions, because you wouldn't be able to have a list like this without honorable mentions, because, well, there's too many to talk about. I already touched on some of the Otome stuff earlier when I talked about Norn 9, so I won't repeat that again, but I'll touch on the other ones, which is Dragon Quest, like, the 2 games on that, because we just got Dragon Quest Treasures released, but the 2 upcoming ones are Dragon Quest, like, Infinity Strash, which is like the action RPG spin-off of the Adventures of Dai, which has recently been rebooted because it was originally like a manga release in like the 1990s, and then it was like, oh, we're going to bring this back and get an anime stuff, which and 3 games, one of which is the only one that's actually worth giving a shit about because it's on consoles, and that's Infinity Strash. It looks like an action RPG. I hope it's not a Muso, but you know, either way, I'll probably check it out because it's a Dragon Quest. And it's on Switch, so I won't miss it like it's on Heroes because I'm not playing a Muso on a big screen. Unless I do Tawaromono, because there's no port for that. But that's beside the point. The other one is, of course, the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III. This was announced a long time ago, but then nothing was shown about it for a very long time, and still is the case now. But, you know, maybe next year we'll finally get some, but I hope to see it, and it gets dated for all consoles, like not the Switch, but all consoles that comes out, because the Seeds of Salvation is actually quite an iconic game in the Dragon Quest series. It's just not been like, it just doesn't have a wide exposure like 8 and 11 do, because obviously, well, it was Japan exclusive until like the Game Boy Color re-release. Imagine trying to get hold of that nowadays. And as a European, I can't because it never came out here. And finally, the last honourable mention is the console version of Monochrome Mobius Rights and Wrongs Forgotten. Now, this game is actually already out technically because it got a worldwide PC release day and date with the Japanese release, so you can go on Steam right now and pay way too much money for a digital copy of it. But there's no console version in the West, because in Japan it also came out on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. It never got picked up, like there doesn't seem to be any news on it, which is a real shame. No one's announced it. Nicer claim to pass on it, but if they are doing it, they'll probably just announce it in a year or so, because when they say there's no plans, that's only valid for when they actually have the statement at the time, and so is it a case of they are doing it, but they they can't say anything because the details aren't set in stone, if that makes sense. So they might be doing it, they might not, but that's just purely speculation. I believe it will come. I also believe it will get Switch port as well, because Aquaplus supporting the Switch has been next to non-existent. There's also that Nozuri detective game, which looks cool, but again, that's not confirmed for the West, so it's not on here either. So, but I've heard good things about it because, like, from a plot perspective, the game delivers from what people have said, and as an Utah fan, that's the main reason I want it, is the story building and to see how it adapts to an RPG. And there's been a lot of growing pains with the series as an RPG, and that release has had bugs and stuff, so I'm kind of glad the console version of it came out, but a console release is still on my most anticipated list because I'm not paying £40+ for a digital PC game. That's just not happening. Thank you so much for listening to this video. What are you excited for? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and hope you have a lovely day. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and bye bye, and happy holidays too, whatever you're celebrating and wherever you are. Okay, ending for real now, bye bye.